Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through the noise articles, interviews, analysis to give you the focused insight you need.
Today, we're looking at someone whose fingerprints are all over modern TV comedy, even if your name isn't always the first one you think of.
Exactly. We're talking about Jen Statsky, American television writer, comedian, and just a powerhouse, really.
And our mission today, well, is pretty clear. We want to trace her journey. It's quite remarkable.
It really is. From doing stand-up, working in coffee shops, all the way to co-creating and co-show-running Hacks. You know, one of the most critically adored comedies out there right now.
And the awards back that up. We're talking multiple Emmys, 3 Primetime Emmys, a Peabody, 3 WGA awards, mostly for Hacks, but that's just the peak so far.
So this deep dive is for you if you've ever watched shows like The Good Place or Parks and Rec or Broad City and wondered, how does someone get involved in all of these?
Right. It's not just about the credits list. It's about the how. How do you build that kind of career? How do you navigate different comedic styles, different roles in the writer's room?
That's what we're going to unpack. Analytically, you know?
Yeah.
How did she become such a key player, shaping so many major comedies over the last, 15 years?
Yeah.
All right, let's dig in. Where does it all start? The foundation.
Right. So, Jen Statsky, born November 19th, 1985, grew up outside Boston in Milton, Massachusetts.
But like so many people aiming for entertainment, the pull of New York City was strong.
Absolutely. She heads to NYC for college. Ends up at NYU.
And not just NYU, but Tisch, the School of the Arts.
Yeah, Tisch is significant. Studied film and television there. And Tisch, well, it drills you on the craft, doesn't it? Structure, visual storytelling. It's less about literary analysis and more about, the mechanics of making film and TV.
That structural grounding feels important looking at her later work. But let's add a couple of humanizing details first. She's married to Travis Helwig.
That's right. Also an Emmy-winning writer. You might know him from his time at Crooked Media.
That's fascinating. A real powerhouse couple in the writing world, straddling comedy and, political commentary.
Yeah, imagine those dinner table conversations. And another little detail, maybe telling, maybe not. She's a huge Los Angeles Clippers fan, like diehard.
Okay, why bring that up? Is there a connection?
Well, maybe. Hear me out. The Clippers, historically, they're the underdog in L.A.
Yeah.
Right? Always fighting for respect against the Lakers.
True. Perpetual scrappers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, that kind of reflects a certain interest in characters who are striving, who are maybe a bit flawed, but fighting for their place. Think about Hacks. That dynamic feels very present, doesn't it?
Huh. That's actually a really interesting thought, the narrative preference showing through. Okay, so she graduates NYU in 2008. What happens next? The glamorous post-grad life.
Yeah, exactly. The grind. Pure and simple, you've got the degree, but now you're working at a coffee shop, paying the bills.
And doing stand-up at night.
Yep, that's the other half of the equation. From roughly 2008 to 2010, juggling the day job with hitting open mics.
Why is that period so important, more than Tisch even?
I think so, yeah. Because stand-up is it's a crucible. You're up there alone, you have maybe 3-5 minutes.
Instant feedback or
Yeah.
instant silence.
Right. Brutal efficiency. Every single word has to count. You learn timing, rhythm, how to structure a joke for maximum impact, economy of language.
Right.
Skills that translate everywhere in comedy writing.
And the coffee shop, just a paycheck.
Well, yes, but it also gives you time. Time to think, time to write between rushes. It fuels the need to keep creating, keep practicing.
And while she's doing all this, she's also racking up some seriously impressive internships.
Oh, yeah, it's just like a dream list for any comedy hopeful.
Yeah.
Between 2008 and 2010, she interned at Saturday Night Live.
Wow.
Late Night with Conan O'Brien.
Okay.
And The Onion.
Jeez. That's like 3 different pillars of modern American comedy right there.
Exactly. SNL live sketch, fast turnarounds, copicality, Conan classic late night structure, monologue jokes, desk pieces, different rhythm entirely.
And The Onion, satire. High concept, premise-driven humor, that commitment to the bit.
She wasn't just getting coffee. She was inside these machines, seeing how they worked, absorbing 3 distinct, high-pressure professional ways of making comedy.
Okay, now this next part. This feels pivotal. The digital angle.
Ah, yes. Twitter. This is where things get really interesting and very of that specific moment in time.
She joins Twitter in 2009, but not just to, share breakfast photos?
No, she treated it like a writing tool, a public notebook almost, a place to constantly write and workshop jokes.
The 140-character limit, it forces that same economy stand-up does.
Precisely. Short, sharp, punchy. She's just cranking out jokes day after day. And because it's public, she starts building a following. People notice she's consistently funny.
This is the key, isn't it? It becomes a living portfolio. You don't need to tell people you're funny. You can just show them constantly.
And someone important noticed, this is the breakthrough moment. 2011, 80 Miles, who is the head writer over at Late Night with Jimmy Fallon.
Okay.
He sees her stuff on Twitter. He's obviously impressed by the consistency, the voice,
Yep.
and he just messages her directly.
Just slides into the DMs, basically.
Pretty much. Says, hey, we have a writing position open. You should apply.
That's incredible. It completely bypasses the old gatekeepers, doesn't it? No agent needed, no formal submission packet in that initial contact, just talent recognizing talent online.
It was huge. Her manager confirmed the hiring in March 2011. Think about that leap. 1 minute, you're pouring coffee and hitting open mics. The next year, a staff writer on a major network late-night show.
All because she treated Twitter like a job before it was her job.
It perfectly captures that transition. Using a modern digital tool to break into a legacy media institution, it proved the power of just consistently doing the work out loud.
So 2011, she lands at Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. That's the official entry into TV writing. She's there until 2013.
Right. And late night, that's like boot camp, isn't it? The pace is relentless. Daily deadlines, topical jokes. You learn speed.
But she didn't just stay in that lane. What's striking is how quickly she started showing range.
Yeah, almost immediately. Even while at Fallon, or just before. She had a credit on Onion Sportsdome in 2011 as an associate producer, but still, writing adjacent on a very specific high-concept parody.
And then Hello Ladies in 2013. That's HBO, single camera, scripted comedy, totally different feel from Fallon.
Exactly. So already in those first couple of years, she's demonstrated she can handle sketch, parody, and character-driven sitcom writing. She wasn't getting pigeonholed.
Which leads us into this next phase. Let's call it the peak sitcom era for her, maybe 2014 to 2020. This is where she really becomes embedded in some iconic shows.
Yeah, and working on several, sometimes concurrently, climbing the ladder the whole time. The range here is just, wow.
Let's start with the big one, Parks and Recreation, 2014, 2015.
Right, wrote 2 episodes, which is great. But look at the other roles. Story editor, then executive story editor.
Okay, let's pause there, because those titles sound important, but what do they actually mean in the writer's room? Story editor.
A story editor is deep in the trenches of the season's narrative. You're not just focused on your own script. You're in the room every day, helping break all the stories, making sure character arcs track, that the tone is consistent. You're kind of like a guardian of the season's overall structure.
Okay, so overseeing the story logic. And executive story editor.
That's the next step up.
Yeah.
More responsibility. It signals the showrunners really trust your judgment on the story, on the voice of the show. You're helping manage the flow of scripts, maybe doing some polishing work. It's a key middle management role, essentially.
So on Parks and Rec, known for its warmth and ensemble comedy, she's already in a position managing the story architecture, applying that Tisch structure training, maybe.
You have to assume so, yeah. But then look where she goes next, or overlaps with. Broad City, 2015 to 2019.
Talk about tonal whiplash. From Pawnee, Indiana to, well, the chaotic, hilarious world of Abby and Alana.
Completely different comedic energy. Parks is network-friendly optimism. Broad City is cable-edgy, character-specific, sometimes surreal, often raunchy. And her roles there reflect another step up.
4 episodes written. And consultant, co-executive producer.
Okay, consultant. That often means you're brought in for your specific expertise, maybe on jokes, maybe on story, offering high-level feedback. It's a respected outside voice role.
But co-executive producer, co-EP, that sounds significant.
It is. That's upper management in the writer's room. You're likely running the room some days. You're dealing with notes from the network or studio. You might be involved in staffing decisions, maybe even some budget stuff. You're moving from just writing to actually managing the creative process.
So she's mastering both the warm network comedy structure and the edgy cable comedy management, and it doesn't stop there.
Not at all. She also dives into the wonderfully weird world of Lady Dynamite, 2016-2017.
Maria Bamford show. Very meta, surreal.
Super meta. Breaks the fourth wall constantly. Plays with timelines. Another totally different comedic muscle needed. And again, look at the roles. 2 episodes written, but also story editor and executive story editor. She's flexing that structural muscle again, but in a much more experimental context.
And she even wrote an episode for Another Period in 2016, the historical satire.
Tubman, just casually dropping into a period comedy. It's like she was deliberately trying every flavor of sitcom available. A true chameleon.
Then there's Forever in 2018, the Amazon show with Fred Armisen and Maya Rudolph. supervising producer credit there, story credit on an episode.
Supervising producer is another step up that ladder, often sitting between exec story editor and co-EP. More oversight, more responsibility for guiding scripts through the process.
This constant progression through producer titles, it's not just about billing, is it?
Not at all. This is the training ground for becoming a showrunner. Each step adds a new layer of understanding. Script level, season level, production level, management level. She's systematically mastering every single aspect of how a TV comedy gets made.
Which brings us to arguably her biggest gig before creating her own show, The Good Place.
The Good Place.
Yeah.
2016 to 2020, what a show. And her involvement was substantial.
7 episodes written, that's a lot for a show that dense.
It really is. And think about what writing for The Good Place demanded. You had to be incredibly funny, yes. But you also had to juggle complex philosophical concepts, maintain really strict world-building rules, and land massive season-ending twists. The writing had to be airtight.
And her producer journey continued there too.
Oh yeah, she moved through co-producer, supervising producer, and finally co-executive producer on that show, her highest title before Hacks.
And this is where the industry recognition really starts to solidify for her personally, right? Not just the show, but her role in it.
Definitely. While she was supervising producer and then co-EP, The Good Place racked up Emmy nominations for Outstanding Comedy Series. So in 2019 and 2020, she's personally named on those major nominations. That's the industry saying, okay, she's not just a great writer anymore. She's a proven creative leader on a top-tier show. So we've seen her climb the ranks inside the writer's room, but her influence started extending beyond just the creative side. We need to talk about her role in the wider industry.
Okay. Like, what? Business deals? Advocacy?
Both, actually. Let's start with something really significant that happened in 2019. The WGA versus the ATA. The writers versus the agents.
Right. The dispute over packaging fees. This was a huge deal. Can you break down what that was about, simply?
Sure. So traditionally, big talent agencies would package a show for a studio, bring together the writer, maybe a star, a director. Instead of just taking their 10% commission from the clients, the agency got a large fee directly from the studio for delivering this package.
Okay, sounds efficient, maybe. What was the problem?
Massive conflict of interest. If your agent is getting paid by the studio, are they really fighting for the absolute best deal for you, the writer? Or are they maybe incentivized to keep the studio happy to ensure future packaging deals? The WGA argued it depressed writer salaries and created divided loyalties.
So how did Statsky get involved?
She was one of the thousands of WGA members who took a really bold collective action. They essentially fired their agents en masse until the agencies agreed to phase out packaging fees.
Wow, that takes guts. You're potentially blowing up your representation, your career structure midstream.
Exactly. Especially for someone at her level working on major shows, it was a serious professional risk, taken to fight for fairer practices for all writers, especially those coming up. It showed real commitment to the guild and the principle of the thing. Puts her right in the middle of a crucial industry labor fight.
And did that stance hurt her career? Seems like the opposite happened.
Well, 2 years later, in 2021, she signs an overall deal with Universal Television.
Okay, explain what an overall deal signifies. That's a big step, right?
It's huge. It's basically the studio saying, we believe in you so much, we want to bankroll your creativity for the next few years. They pay you a hefty salary, give you resources, office space maybe, and in return you develop all your new TV projects exclusively for them.
So it locks her in as a major creator, not just a writer for hire, but someone expected to generate and run her own shows.
Precisely. It's the ultimate vote of confidence. Universal is betting on her as a showrunner, as a source of future hits. It's her creative home base now.
It's interesting, though, that even with all this TV success, she didn't completely abandon other forms of writing.
No, and that's telling too. Shows her range isn't just across TV genres, but across media. For instance, way back in 2012, she contributed to the McSweeney's book of politics and musicals.
McSweeney's, that's known for pre-highbrow literary humor, right?
Very much so. Smart, often quirky, sophisticated stuff. And then more recently, she was part of that big anthology, Notes from the Bathroom Line. Humor, art, and low-grade panic from 150 of the funniest women in comedy.
Why is it significant that she's doing these print pieces alongside her TV work?
I think it shows she still values that direct, individual comedic voice. TV writing is intensely collaborative. Writing an essay or a short humor piece, that's usually just you and the page. It's flexing a different muscle, maybe closer to her stand-up roots. She can manage a team and still deliver a solo punchline.
And speaking of roots, she also seems to be giving back to the stand-up community.
Yeah, check this out. She's credited as an executive producer on Chris Fleming's 2023 comedy special, Hell.
Ah, interesting. So using her producer clout to help another comedian get their special made.
Exactly. It kind of brings things full circle, doesn't it? Started in stand-up, becomes a top TV producer, then uses that position to champion another stand-up. It shows she's engaged across the whole comedy ecosystem, scripted TV, specials, print humor.
Okay, this all leads us to the current peak. The show that really defines her current status. Hacks, premiering in 2021 on HBO Max, now Max.
Hacks. This feels like the synthesis of everything she'd done before. The sharp joke writing, the complex character dynamics, the structural integrity, the management skills, it all comes together here.
And crucially, she's not just a writer or producer here, she's co-creator and co-showrunner.
Right. Sharing that top credit with Lucia Agnello and Paul W. Downs. That partnership itself seems incredibly fruitful. They'll work together on Broad City too, right?
They did, so there's history there. And on Hacks, she's not just contributing to a vision, she is the vision along with them. She's written, 13 episodes herself? Plus running the whole show as an EP.
This is where all of that climbing the ladder pays off.
No.
She has the experience, the authority, the skills to build this world from the ground up. And the reception, well, it was immediate and massive.
The awards are just staggering. It wasn't a slow burn. It hit hard right out of the gate.
Let's just list some of the big ones because it demonstrates the consensus. Season 1, 2021. She, Agnello, and Downs win the Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Writing for a Comedy Series. For the pilot, There Is No Line.
Winning for the pilot is huge. It means the core concept, the voice, it landed perfectly from episode 1.
Totally. And then, flash forward to 2024, they win the exact same Emmy again for the episode Bulletproof.
That's incredible. Winning twice for writing on the same show, years apart. That speaks volumes about sustained quality.
It really does. And it wasn't just writing. 2024, she also wins the big one, the Emmy for Outstanding Comedy Series, as an executive producer. The show itself is crowned the best.
Plus, there's the Peabody Award back in 2021.
Which is huge. Peabody's recognized storytelling that matters, that has cultural resonance beyond just laughs. It elevates the show.
And then the Industry Awards. Golden Globes for Best Musical or Comedy Series in 2021, AFI Television Program of the Year, 2 years running, 2021 and 2022.
The AFI recognition is significant, too, because that's about preserving works of cultural importance. And the WGA, her own guild, the one she fought alongside, they showered it with awards, too.
Right. 2021 wins for both comedy series and new series. Then 2022, an episodic comedy win for The One, The Only, again, shared with Agnello and Downs.
It's this consistent recognition across the board, best show, best writing, from critics, from the industry, from her peers, that really cements Hacks, and by extension, her role in it.
So let's talk about that historical significance. You mentioned winning the Writing Emmy twice. How rare is that? Where does that place her?
It puts her in seriously rarefied air. You have to understand the history of that specific award, Outstanding Writing for a Comedy Series.
Okay. Lay it out for us.
Well, think about the legends. Carl Reiner won it multiple times for the Dick Van Dyke Show back in the 60s. You had winners from MBAH, James L. Brooks for Mary Tyler Moore. Later, maybe most famously, Larry David won for the contest episode of Seinfeld.
Wow. Okay, those are giants.
Absolute giants. More recently, Tina Fey won multiple times for 30 Rock. Dan Levy for Schitt's Creek. Winning it once puts you in elite company. Winning it twice for the same show.
Especially once for the pilot, establishing the promise, and again years later for Bulletproof, proving you delivered on that promise and sustained it.
It places her and her collaborators firmly in that historical lineage. It's not just a currently popular show, it's being recognized repeatedly as possessing writing quality on par with some of the most foundational and beloved comedies in television history. It signifies a level of craft that endures.
So Hacks isn't just a hit. It's being judged by the industry, consistently, as genuinely landmark television writing for this era.
Demonstrably so. The awards aren't everything, but that level of consensus from Emmys, WGA, Peabody, AFI, it's undeniable.
So let's try and bring this all together. We've tracked this path from, using Twitter almost like a public joke diary back in 2009.
Which incredibly lands her a job on Fallon, a direct leap.
Then a really focused decade spent inside the system, moving between shows with wildly different tones. Parks, Broad City, Good Place.
And not just writing, but actively learning the whole machine by climbing those producer ranks. Story editor, exec story editor, supervising producer, co-EP, mastering the craft and the management.
Until finally, she reaches the point where she's co-creating and co-show-running her own series, Hacks, which becomes this critical, darling, sweeping awards.
And securing that overall deal with Universal, which basically says, okay, keep doing that. We want more of whatever you're creating.
So what's the big takeaway here? What does her career tell us?
I think it's a masterclass in building a career through versatility and strategic growth. She used stand-up for timing, late night for speed, sitcoms for structure, producing for leadership. She touched all the bases.
And wasn't afraid to move between, like, very different comedic worlds. Network warmth to cable edge to philosophical high concept.
Right. She developed a voice strong enough and skills broad enough that the industry eventually said, okay, you're ready, build your own universe. And she did. Brilliantly.
And it's also a story about resilience, isn't it? The early grind, the stand-up, the coffee shop, and then later taking a stand with the WGA, showing that professional integrity.
Absolutely. It's not just about talent. It's about perseverance, strategic learning, and, well, being really, really good at writing jokes and structuring stories. It's quite the blueprint.
Okay, so as we wrap up, we always like to leave our listeners with something to chew on, a final thought based on everything we've discussed.
Right. So think about this. Jen Statsky spent a huge chunk of her career becoming exceptional at working within established worlds, taking shows like Parks and Rec or The Good Place, which already had strong voices and beloved characters, and elevating them, keeping them great.
She was a key player in maintaining and enhancing those existing universes, a vital role.
Definitely. But her biggest success, Hacks, involved starting from a blank page, co-creating the entire world, the characters, the tone, the rules, everything from scratch.
So here's a question for you to consider. What's the difference in the creative challenge? What different muscles do you need to be brilliant at sustaining and refining an existing hit versus the challenge of inventing a completely new, acclaimed comedy universe from the ground up?
Yeah, think about that shift in responsibility. From being a crucial part of a great machine to being one of the architects designing the entire machine. It's a fascinating leap.
Something to keep in mind as you watch whatever Jen Statsky and her collaborators create next under that Universal deal.
For sure. It'll be exciting to see.
Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll catch you on the next one.